This is the Paranormal Report. Welcome to the Paranormal Report.
Looks a little different, right?
I feel like I'm between two ferns. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We love this. Actually, first of all, you might notice this is a big upgrade from, the Spooky Studio, right? We're at Spotify Studios in Los Angeles.
Yay!
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
This is just like absolutely amazing.
It is amazing. So a big shout out to Travis, the whole team at Spotify. They couldn't have been nicer. We really appreciate it. We're having a great time. And later in the month, we have a very special episode with a very special guest that we recorded here a little earlier today. So stay tuned for that.
For Paranormal Podcast. Remember, we have those two different.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can't thank everyone enough here. Everybody's so nice. And this has just been, what an amazing experience, right?
Great opportunity. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
But you can expect the same weirdness, the same strangeness, the same ridiculousness.
The same Jim missing stories.
Yes, the same obliviousness from your co-host here. So anyway, Dar, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing very well.
Are you enjoying LA?
Yes. We went to see the Warner Brothers Studios yesterday. That was cool.
That was
I love
really
the history.
neat. Yeah.
We were on the soundstage where Casablanca was shot.
Amazing.
Amazing indeed. So
yeah, very fun. And we went to In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah.
Because we had to see what the hype was about.
And here it looks like I've been eating In-N-Out Burger for years, but
Both
no,
of us.
believe it or not.
I am an In-N-Out Burger, but
I
that's
feel
okay.
like Orson Welles sell no
With
wine before it's
animal style.
So anyway.
We don't have those. For those of you, our listeners on the West Coast, you're like, what are you talking about? But we don't have In-N-Out Burger.
No In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah.
But I understand you guys don't have Buc-ee's, so.
Ooh.
So
are you hitting back? We barely have Buc-ee's. We just got one.
It's within driving distance.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Well, I guess we need to get to the paranormal.
Let's get to the meat.
All right, let's get to the meat
Enough
of the
potatoes.
Matter. Okay. So, this is a really interesting story. This kind of gets the old rusty gears turning up here. Apparently, there is a Monsignor priest and psychologist and professor at the Catholic University of America who came out and basically said that, UFOs are demons.
Okay.
Now, that would be pretty wild.
Yes.
He's an official exorcist and all of this.
Yeah, he's an exorcist, right?
Yeah. Well, on June 3rd, Cardinal Robert McElroy removed him from his position as an exorcist.
You're fired.
You're fired. You're fired. So, listen to this. The Archdiocese, people are saying. The Archdiocese said that Rossetti's recent UFO remarks, and this is moneywise.com had this story, gravely undermined the church's very precise teaching on the devil, demons, and exorcism. I mean, wow. This is some story. Because, I mean, to me, it means like there's a there. Either there's, demons or UFOs or both. I mean, I don't know. Why would they fire him just over these
Because he's getting too close?
Too close to the truth.
To something,
and
right?
We know that the Vatican has a very first of all, they're very much into the exorcism thing. That's a real thing. It's not just in the movies.
Correct.
And then they have this big section about UFO research. Makes you think.
Well, I mean, we talk about the government's hiding everything about UFOs. We know the Vatican's. I'm convinced they're sitting on stuff.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean,
well, doesn't it go back to Italy in 1933? Wasn't there
something there?
Yeah.
Didn't they have a retrieval of alien bodies or something? I thought
something. I forget it. But the point is, the Vatican knows a lot more than they're letting on. I think so. Now, Rossetti, this guy's popular. He's got 148,000 followers on Instagram.
So people really do listen to him, and now no more.
Yeah. Well,
so is he still a priest? He's still a priest, but they just won't let him do exorcists.
Yeah, he's not an official exorcist anymore. Now, for his part, the Monsignor said, I ask forgiveness for any ways that I have not been faithful to the teachings of the church magisterium, particularly in the cited video on aliens and the demonic. I believe it is of the utmost importance to be obedient to the church, and I will continue to endeavor to subject all that I do and the center to be thus obedient. So, so he's kind of begging for forgiveness. He isn't too happy that he lost his job, but I don't know. I don't. It's just weird to me that, again, to me that says there's a there. There's
Right.
something that they don't like being taught.
That's right. Something he is saying that
touched a nerve.
Yes, it
got
did.
a little too close to something.
I agree.
Yeah. Speaking of getting a little too close, this whole science, these missing scientists. What's the deal with that? There's some new developments.
Yes, I'm really glad. There's Lauren Conlon from LA Magazine has been following this story very closely, and thank God there's still somebody in the mainstream that is willing to listen about what happened to these people, right? So, Jesse Weber live, I think News Nation had her on to discuss these new developments. And there are some new developments with the Casillas case. There's some really weird things that have happened. First of all, her family hired a private investigating team after her skeleton basically was discovered in the forest, right? Apparently they didn't like how the investigation was going and how it was handled. So the family hired a private investigation to go on. They found some really weird things where her bones were kind of propped up against the tree. Remember that they found an orange peel and they found some torn pieces of paper, and they said it had her writing on it. So, but they won't say what it said. So nobody knows except the investigators what it said. And I guess that the private firm did hand over everything to the police. So the police that's running, the ones that are running the investigation, they now have all of this stuff. They found clothing, hair. What they also said was weird. When the private investigators took dogs there, the dogs were barking at the bones, which they said is bizarre. Dogs they wouldn't do that, but they were barking when they discovered the bones sitting there. So really strange. Lauren also got her hands on an old police report that was talking about, she had, I guess Melissa had Q clearance at Los Alamos, and they took it away from her shortly before she disappeared. Her and her husband, I guess they reported that her and her husband were having problems financially, and there was some debt stuff going on. And she was the only one making payments. So a coworker said that Melissa was heard talking about moving to Albuquerque so she could be near her daughter who was starting cosmetology school, and that she just had the conversation with her like a couple days before she disappeared. Here's the other weird part to this story. Apparently, they had camera surveillance of Melissa's car coming into work every day since January at the same time. They have surveillance. The day she disappeared, nothing. Her car was not there.
That's weird. Yeah, and well, go ahead.
Well, yeah. Well, people were like Lauren saying if she was like actively working to pay down her debt and discussing plans to relocate,
would she do anything to
be with her daughter? Yeah. How does that fit into what happened to her? Yeah. Right? There's all these questions. She's
making a long-term plan.
Yeah, and they're saying paying off debts and planning on moving, those aren't the usual plans of somebody wanting to kill themselves. Right.
Well,
so there's a lot.
All these missing scientists thing, they're very, very mysterious. And the thing that we always say on the show is our hearts go out to these families, and there could be very logical reasons for this. So we don't want to disparage anybody or disrespect anybody, and certainly our hearts, again, go out to the families. But there's just so much smoke. It seems like there might be some fire.
Well, absolutely. What they're doing, though, is also they're opening up this Anthony Chavez, who also went and disappeared actually a month prior or a month after Melissa disappeared. Both of them were at Los Alamos, okay? But Anthony Chavez, he was a retired HVAC technician at the facility, so he was not a scientist, okay? His disappearance, super weird. They found his brand new silver Acura in his driveway. It was his like loved possession, his beloved thing. In the house, the car keys, cigarettes, his wallet, everything was in the house. A friend had gone over and said that it was weird. The house was dark. Just bizarre behavior. Well, then this is the part that's kind of weird. So the friend of Chavez told police that he had been working with a Los Alamos scientist, right, on quantum physics. but he's an HVAC tech.
Dum,
Okay.
dum, dum.
Quote, specifically about being in two places at once. That's what they were working on. Particles that can be in two places.
Co-location.
So bizarre stuff. I just think, it's really great that, backtrack a minute. Chavez and Cassius, they didn't know each other, supposedly. There's no link to each other, but they both were at Los Alamos.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kudos to Lauren.
Weird.
Thank you for keeping this relevant. Because, boy, this story went away quickly, too. Because whatever the government or whoever doesn't want you to talk about it, bye-bye.
Yeah.
So.
On to the next.
On to the next. So.
Well, speaking of people not wanting people to know about things, this next story, and hats off to Representative Eric Burleson. He did this long-form interview with Russ Coulthard over at News Nation, and we've said very many times that we really appreciate that News Nation has taken the forefront of promoting this UFO story this last couple of years, actually. But it was about a 20-minute interview, and it was fascinating. First of all, he said, Burleson said he's really struck by the plasmoids, kind of like these plasma-type balls that appear to have, in videos he's seen and so forth, that have almost intelligent movement, like they're moving at right angles, like at these impossible ways. And then another thing that really struck me is that how difficult it is for him and other Congress people to actually get the records from the agency of record. Now, Coulthard brought out the point, and I highly recommend that folks go and watch the original interview that we have a link to in the show notes. But specifically, it's so difficult for him to get records. Like he could go to the CIA and say, well, do you have any records on XYZ? No. So what he has to do is he has to kind of know the answer before he asks the question. He needs to know the file name, the date, and so forth. And then if he asks, then they'll give it to him. And there's that one we talked about last week. He said they know about that file, that audio file from 1952 that talked about the sightings over Washington, and they're trying to get it from the MIT Lincoln Lab. And it did get into, and you're going to talk about it in a little bit here, how, this idea that the government after the Manhattan Project kind of learned from that, and they incorporated these private organizations to basically kind of hide information. If you think about it, the government is subject to Freedom of Information Act, right? FOIA. So I supposedly, as a citizen, for something that's declassified, I can ask for information. But that doesn't apply to private industry. So if you have things shunted over to private industry.
How convenient.
And that very much mimics Disclosure Day. We won't give it away.
It does. We're not going to give it away. We will hopefully we will do a live stream once more people have seen it.
Right.
Get everybody's thoughts.
Right. But the point is that, and he talked about this thing where you need to know literally the file name, the date and things, and then they can get the files. But to me, the president, regardless of your belief on him one way or another, if he's calling for disclosure, Congress people are and requesting the files. Who is more powerful that can withhold these files? So definitely there's something going on. Really kudos to him. And what I love about he's a Republican. There's many Democrats also behind this. Moskowitz, Schumer, other people who are for disclosure and trying to give us more information. So I love the bipartisan piece of this. And hopefully it'll go in the right direction.
But don't you know, Jim, we have disclosure, right? We're getting disclosure. We have pages and pages of blurry photos. I mean, come on.
No, I'm very skeptical about that.
But imagine, though, Jim, a congressperson, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You're like one step below like the big honcho, right? I mean, basically, these are our lawmakers.
Yeah.
They can't get their hands on stuff. They want us to know. Why do they want us to know? Right? I mean, it harkens back to last week when I said, what was it, Burchett that's afraid for his life. He's got the good old boys around him because he's afraid of what might happen to him because Elizondo was threatened and Grush was threatened. So, I mean, this makes you, right? Like what is going on?
Yeah,
right? Come on.
Yeah. I'm just afraid that, as has happened before, there have been periods of time where there has been a push for disclosure.
Right.
And then things like the Condon Committee and things come out and Project Blue Book, and it all gets hushed up. It goes away. And I would think that we were probably at the pinnacle of interest for this subject when Disclosure Day, the movie, was released. And it's already been pretty much said, it was kind of a flop.
And it was no good.
So I think the moment's passing. I hope I'm wrong.
We have to tell everybody we were wrong. This is why we are not psychics.
Yep.
World UFO Day. There's controversy on what day it actually lands on. Some say it was June 24th. Others say July 2nd. So happy belated if you care. Interesting. We predicted that the next release of information would have come out July 2nd or July 3rd.
Because I thought they would do it to bury it.
Right.
Because that's a PR tactic. Because they always release these on Fridays.
Crickets, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing has been released. So there's only 3 releases. The last one was June 12th.
Yeah.
So
who knows? Maybe there won't be.
Is that it?
One.
Yeah. I mean, is that all they have now? So whatever. Yeah. But these Congress people are learning stuff in skiffs. So that we don't know. We're not privy to.
And as much as Burleson said, there's stuff that he didn't say and he can't say.
Right.
So, if he's saying this publicly, it's pretty damning stuff. What is he not saying? What does he know that he can't disclose?
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because he was talking about those orbs.
Yeah, the plasmoids.
The plasmoids. And he said there were many of them. You guys really need to watch that interview if you're interested. Kudos. It was very well eye-opening.
Very
yeah.
Well, another thing eye-opening, we talk about those private corporations, and Spielberg puts it in his movie, and then, people like us are saying, but somebody else is saying that there's something's rotten in Denmark.
There is. So New York Post is reporting Trump's UFO advisory panel that just came out, headed by Avi Loeb, right? Yeah. So first of all, this is going back to Eric Burleson, which you just talked about. He said an executive of the $137 billion military contractor Lockheed Martin, here we go, claimed the company operated a crashed UFO retrieval program. Okay. So this article from the Post is saying that there are a bunch of private companies that are involved in this. So Loeb says, quote, I had a former high-level executive from Lockheed Martin visit my home, and I asked him, is there any truth to these claims? And he said, quote, it's not wrong. So that's what Loeb revealed on the podcast. It's not wrong. So
it's interesting.
Yeah. So Loeb is claiming that retrieved tech would be enough to prove humans are not the only intelligent beings on Earth. And he thinks that private corporations are ready to participate in the disclosure effort. That's what he's saying.
Well, let's hope.
And then he said, if such materials exist, we would love to analyze them. With just a gram of material, this is all a quote, we will be able to determine if it originated outside our solar system. So, and he said historically, those government, the government and the contractors were not willing to talk to anybody.
Maybe there's movement.
Yeah. So, and then this article goes on talking about the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP, and a member of that program, Hal Puthoff. Didn't we just talk about him last week?
Yeah, Hal Puthoff.
Yeah. He suggested on the same podcast that Lockheed was ready to transfer materials to ATIP between 2008 and 2012, but that plan was killed by the CIA, their Directorate of Science and Technology. And Elizondo, who was also leadership in ATIP, said that a craft of unknown origin was being held in Lockheed Labs and was sent to be transferred to the Navy's Pax River facility in Maryland.
Too much smoke. Smoke.
Right? I mean, come on. So they said it's in a special hangar. He says it's there. And Burleson, said he was able to see facilities that explain some of the stories that he's heard. But we're going to go on at the bottom because this is what you were kind of referring to about MIT. So, Burleson demanded specific documents from MIT's Lincoln Laboratory, and we talked about that last week too, and the MITRE Corporation, including a video of the 1952 meeting where a U.S. general supposedly briefed a room of scientists mass UFO sightings.
The only thing I would correct that article, it wasn't a video, it was a film because they didn't have video in 1952. I was getting annoyed with that.
We know about journalism today, sweetheart. We talk about this all the time. And he's saying, Burleson's saying MIT's Lincoln Lab and MITRE are cooperating. Supposedly, they appear to be cooperating with his request for information. So, yeah, stay tuned. It's probably a big zero.
I hope it happens. I applaud his efforts. I hope it happens.
It's good somebody's sticking up for us and listening to people.
Yeah, it's interesting because we see with the newer developments, we see some older things brought back to life. And there was a story here, unexplained-mysteries.com, and it talked about a former contractor who actually had passed. But some of her remarks kind of surfaced back on the internet lately. She said, and again, this is unexplained-mysteries.com, that UFOs were airbrushed from images from NASA before released to the public.
Really?
Yeah. She died in 2021, as I said, but interviews in which she talked about potential cover-ups at NASA have been circulating the web in recent years. She worked in her role from 1967 to 1981, so quite a while, and claimed on multiple occasions that there was an agenda at NASA to conceal any evidence of UFOs or extraterrestrial visitors. Yeah, now this is an interesting story. On one occasion, while working at a restricted photo lab at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, she was shown a photograph of a UFO hovering above some pine trees. When she asked, the technician told her they couldn't provide any details, but indicated it was standard procedure to airbrush out anything anomalous before the photo made it to public.
Shocking.
Yep.
Really?
I'm telling you.
Our own NASA? Really? NASA?
Yeah.
Our beloved NASA? Who doesn't know when meteors are coming down and hitting houses everywhere?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that was...
That NASA?
Yeah. It's interesting.
Right?
Well, I'll tell you, it gets curiouser and curiouser. Now, a lot of times we talk about AI and robots, and you have, to use a technical term, you have a humdinger of a story.
Are you ready?
That's why everybody thinks I'm 90 years old, folks.
You're using archaic language.
It's swell.
It's Gee
willikers.
Isn't it nifty? Oh, Lord. Anyway, I'm wondering, do you have about, Jim, I need about $145,000. Do you have it? Well, maybe, we can, maybe we'll go on the lower side.
When I go back to Cleveland, I will go to the bank and...
Got 17,000 maybe.
Rob it. No. No, go ahead.
Well, I need this because I have found what I need for the house.
What do you need for a house?
I need this robot that the Chinese have built. They can do cleaning and cooking, and it's great.
Tell me about it.
Okay, you guys know I don't like AI. This story is so scary. It's coming from odditycentral.com. You guys need to look it up because the video is on YouTube. So this Chinese company unveiled the world's first full-size, mass-produced, ultra-bionic humanoid robots.
You know what people are going to be using those for.
Okay, hey now, let's... I'm using it to clean my house. You use it whatever you want to use it for.
I would not.
They're humanoid, and if you guys see the video, it is truly scary. They
were waltzing. They were dancing.
They look real. The female robots are about 5'5" in height. The males are about 6 feet, and they have, what is it? They said like 20 seconds of latency for their lip movements, or less than 20 milliseconds of latency. So when they're talking or blinking, it's a system that synchronizes their speech and lip movements.
Just
the speech therapist can't speak. And they said they're powered by the world's first emotion-aware LLM.
Yes, large language model.
Yeah, designed for long-term companionship. That's all, Jim.
But that's
it's just for long-term companionship.
She's just my companion.
Hey, now.
No funny business.
No, 31 years, buddy.
No, I'm not talking about you and me.
You're going to get this robot and replace me.
No.
What do you need the robot for?
You're the one that wanted it.
Because I need it to clean and cook.
Yeah,
and the males did not do anything for me, so whatever.
That's what they all say.
Actually,
but you got to realize this is the worst it's ever gonna be. It's the worst it's ever gonna be. I mean,
I know.
You think that's something? Wait until 5, 10, 15 years from now.
I mean, all I wanted was the Jetsons made. I thought Rosie would have been great, but no, we're getting these real scary things. It's for daily companionship, emotional support, lifestyle.
I love when it said
social assistance.
I love when it said that the charge will last 2 to 4 hours. Plenty of time for emotional connection.
Yeah, really. Make the conversation quick. Hurry, talk. Also for elder care and psychological support.
In Japan, isn't there a big move?
This isn't Japan. This is China.
No, I'm saying in Japan, isn't there a big move towards robotics because there is a problem with
robotics?
Okay, touche, hey, touchy.
Tit for tat. There we go.
Okay. I thought we got off of that subject with the robots.
Hey.
But anyway, now what? Oh, Japan. Aren't they leaning into this because they have a huge problem with their elder population being lonely? And I've read that they're really leaning into the robotics thing, robotic pets, robots for companionship.
Look, that is awesome if that's what it's going to be used for, but I am not convinced that's what it's going to be used for.
I mean,
plus,
it's like,
it goes back to AI. I mean, they're going to take over and kill you in your sleep? I didn't like what you told me.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
no, but it's like anything else. It's a tool. It could be good. It could be bad, but it could go very wrong.
It could go very wrong. So anyway, that was the price range, $17,000 to $145,000, and already 10,000 orders have been in, and they're supposed to drop in September. So I don't know. Good luck.
You'll be financing.
I don't want one.
Financing.
I'd rather keep my house dirty, and we'll have a bowl of cereal for dinner.
Well, the future is definitely a scary place. There's no question. And apparently this has come to light. Now, what's interesting about this story, folks, is it actually is a YouTube video, I guess, from 2018, but it's resurfaced. So some of its comments are kind of prescient and kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's weird.
Apparently, according to the Daily Mail, and we know the Daily Mail is the paragon of journalistic excellence.
But you know what? Kudos, because they're the only ones reporting on any of this stuff.
That's true. No, and some of their stuff is Weekly World News, but some of it's really,
some of it is legit. It is.
So anyway, this time traveler says he's from the year 2118, and he made chilling claims about World War III. He said that his name was Alexander Smith. This video, he claims to be Alexander Smith. Apparently, it's interesting. He worked, it looked like he worked for the CIA and then retired and then was summoned back to be the first subject in this time travel experiment, okay?
So he did work for the CIA?
I think that's what they said here. Let me just double check this. Blah, 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 blah. Got to find it here. Hold on a second. Yeah,
because that would be interesting.
Yeah, well, it said here. Smith has provided no evidence to support his extraordinary claims, and there is no proof that he worked for the CIA, traveled through time, or visited the year 2118. According to him, his story began in 1981 when he said he'd already left the CIA and was working as a local carpenter. And they basically came to his door and said, two men dressed in black suits saying, you're going to go with us. And he was going to be the first time travel subject, I guess. Going to be the first test subject.
Men in Black before the movie Men in Black, right?
Well, no, it wasn't. Well, yeah.
Yes, it was. 1981.
I thought you were referring to 2018. I got a little confused there. I'm a little shaky here. I'm in Spotify Studios. I'm a little overwhelmed by the lights. The lights are
We're
too
a little
big.
starstruck.
The lights are too big.
You have the same. Well, you have the same hoods.
Actually,
do you have the same light?
No, those lights are fancier, but they're aperture domes, which is kind of cool to know that I did something right.
In the
so anyway,
studio.
I made him, sometimes what is a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So anyway, listen to this. This is interesting. And this I kind of believe. He said the technologies that you're using right now, like smartphones, they were developed around 30 years prior to them actually being released. He insisted that the public deserves to know the truth about what's happening behind closed doors, claiming the next century will bring more change than any other period in human history, which actually, that all makes sense. And remember, folks, he's talking about AI becoming very powerful. This was recorded in 2018. Apparently, before really most of us were thinking about AI. Certainly the researchers in Silicon Valley were and so forth.
Right.
But the average person wasn't thinking about machine learning and AI back then. And he also said that, again, artificial intelligence will one day rule the planet, and that a small conflict between the U.S. and North Korea would spiral into a global war after Russia sided with Pyongyang and missiles were eventually launched, resulting in what, quote, some might describe as a third world war. Well,
wonderful.
And that I could believe
Great.
too. So, I mean, and then he held up like a blurry cam photo of supposedly a city of the future.
Oh.
And he said it was distorted by going back in time. That's why the photo was blurry. And that the original had been taken away from him, but that he was able to make a duplicate of it. And it's like he's in this weird mask thing. So check it out. We'll have a link in the show notes. But
didn't he also say there wouldn't be like presidents anymore, like just
right,
one
there'll
leader?
Be one world ruler. Yeah, that's correct. That's what he said. That's what the man said. That's what he said.
And AI would be that world ruler, right?
And he said that
maybe
AI,
it's one of the Chinese robots.
He said that actually AI would do a much better job than we would. But I don't know if I believe that, because remember that story we had a couple weeks ago where basically they put like a dozen, was it 12 or 13 different AI into a sandbox. It was a virtual world. And they said, we're going to let them run it.
Yeah.
And it became Mad Max within
wasn't
48 hours.
Wasn't it Grok that was the first one that the world destroyed in like what, days?
Yeah.
Like it was just a few days. And then a couple were like a couple weeks we got through.
It was like a Grand Theft Auto video game on steroids. People were killing and murdering each other.
ChatGPT did the best job. They were the most peaceful.
Yeah, they only committed, 7 violent crimes?
Yeah, something like yeah, so they're going to run the world. That'll. Well, that's great.
We're still running the world for now because of our amazing creation. I believe in a higher power, the amazing creation of the brain.
Yes.
You have something to say about the brain.
Yeah, this is getting a little medical because it is a research article.
That's why she's reading it, because.
Well, just because I did some,
I know. No,
he is constantly doing this. He keeps saying, "I'm too stupid. You don't want me to read this because I'm too stupid." No, I went to school for this. My master's degree is
in your superior knowledge.
You're like, you won't let me do the story because you don't think I can pronounce the words. No,
she's right. I can't.
Yes, you can. There aren't anything.
She's right.
No. Anyway, this is a great.
Let's get serious here.
Yes, it's a great medical scientific article, and the title of it is "Brain Activity Under Anesthesia Challenges What We Know About Consciousness." So, I mean, we talk about consciousness a lot because it's one of the great unknowns, right? Well, this study,
there are known knowns, there are unknown knowns, and there are unknown unknowns. That is to say, there are knowns that we do not know that we do not know. Okay, Donald. Go ahead. Fool me once. Shame on me. Fool me twice. Won't be fooled again. So anyway, this study from Baylor, this was like super, super interesting. They recorded the brain activity under anesthesia. So apparently, I think the subjects had epilepsy and they were under a general anesthesia, and they decided to, see where how aware our brain is while we're under anesthesia, right? So specifically, if you guys kind of know, the hippocampus is mainly known for memory. Okay, it's kind of what's responsible for our memory of things, right? And then if you're talking about language, you're talking about the cortex. You've got frontal lobe for judgment, but you've got Wernicke's area, you got Broca's area for easy
speech.
For you to say.
Yeah, well, see, that's why I took that. You could probably say Wernicke. I'm sorry,
Wernicke.
You're talking about those areas for language, for main language. Yeah. Well, this is talking about the hippocampus, which usually isn't responsible for language. It's more of a memory area, right? So this is what was really, really interesting about this. They played a series of tones, like recordings, while they were under anesthesia, and they used these probes and whatever, but it allowed them to observe how the brain responded to sounds and language while they weren't conscious. Okay, and this is where it got really interesting. So they gave these tones, and they said that the hippocampus was like recognizing unusual tones. It was able to recognize them and it got better at recognizing them over time. So the more tones they'd pump in and they would do unique ones, the hippocampus was actually recognizing these and remembering them. Well, then they decided to make the experiment a little more complex, right? So what they did is they started playing stories to these people and recording the brain activity, and it showed clear evidence of language processing, okay, in real time. And there were patterns of the activity that it was distinct. This is what blows my mind as a former, I guess, current speech therapist. I still have my license, but it was able to recognize language, nouns, verbs, and adjectives, which that's not an area of the brain that usually processes that information, and it was doing that. They also made, this is the big one, they made a discovery that neural signals could be used to predict upcoming words. Okay? And what does that sound like? Predictive language. What? LLMs, right? Mm-hmm. AI. So they said that the brain was able to anticipate what's coming next in a story. Mm-hmm. So that's like, we're talking about this predictive coding, right? And it's only usually something we associate while we're awake and conscious, but they were getting this information, this neural activity, while these people were unconscious. So this is like a huge story because they're, now what I appreciate about this article, because you guys know how I constantly get ticked off about scientific research not being appropriate. They come out and say, you know what, this is just like the surface. We need to do so many more studies on this.
Oh, there's so much they don't
we need to, we need to see if it's the same for people not with epilepsy, if it's not just general anesthesia, is it happening with different types of anesthesia? So I can, kudos that they recognize this is not the end all be all. This is just like the beginning. And, and what can we do with correlating the brain's like predictive language abilities with like AI's abilities. And I appreciate they're also talking about how can this be used effectively? Can it develop like speech prosthetics for people who've had strokes, who have had language damage? Can it, can they use this knowledge to create something that helps these people speak again or use language again? Because I mean, that's my whole job, right? I would sit and try to help people come up with words. If they can't say mouse, we'd work on saying mouse. If they can get research to do this, this would be amazing. So kudos. And I just, but it kind of tells us, consciousness. It's interesting.
Our brain is so amazing, and it taps into most things. And I kind of view the brain as this. It's like, I remember when I got my first computer back when they had mechanical computers and you had to turn with a crank.
You had to wind them up. Yeah.
But I remember when I had that, but then when you got the little phone line and you plugged it into the modem and you get those online services like they used to have in the back in the day, like Prodigy and CompuServe, it like tapped into a whole other world. And that's the way I view our brain. Like we have stuff in here. This is like the computer and it's all programmed in and so forth. But I also think there's an invisible phone line, an invisible fiber cable to a universal consciousness.
Yes.
And that's kind of the way I view the brain.
Well, it's super interesting because they talk about plasticity, right? And you talk about like when people have injury to the brain, will another area compensate for it? And if you're younger, I mean, I think everybody's heard, when you're 3 years old, it's so much easier for you to learn a foreign language, right? Because our brain is so plastic and it's so like a sponge and it can just create networks all over. If they can prove, this kind of thing that different areas of the brain really can, take over other areas, I mean, this is just going to be monumental. Yeah. So thought you guys would be interested in that.
Well, I want to follow up your very serious story with an equally serious story.
Oh, this one's a doozy. This one's great, guys.
Uri Geller.
World Cup time.
He was a guest on the Paranormal Podcast. If you haven't watched it, check it out. But he's a famous psychic, going back many, many years. At one time, probably a household name. And he has claimed credit for England's World Cup success. And this is from...
Never mind the players.
No.
Sorry,
and
Harry
this
Kane.
is from the Daily Star. And he says that he used a, quote, alien crystal skull from a Mayan pyramid to shatter a curse and help England propel itself into the World Cup quarterfinals.
Ooh.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
See,
So
they don't need skill.
So it basically turned out that, remember Harry Kane? I think he's a striker. I think they would call him a striker. Yeah, apparently a Ghanaian person, a woman, Nana Kawako Bonsam, had put a curse on Kane, a hex on him.
She did.
So basically, Uri came to the rescue, and he said he reversed this curse. And he says, when I try to help a team or individual, I focus only on boosting what is already inside of them, their talent, courage, confidence, instinct, and strength. So he basically, he beams positive energy and optimistic vibrations into the brains of the English squad. And that acts as a cosmic shield against the rest of the world.
Oh, so it's a shield.
Yeah,
so it bounces off. It's like, what was that Reagan?
Whatever you say bounces off me.
Rubber cement, isn't that what they would say?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, whatever you say bounces off of me and it sticks to you.
Yeah, that's the one. That's right. Look, Uri said that I believe England can gather an invincible power together with the fans and go on to win. But at the end of the day, I'm only a human being with strong psychic powers. Now, let me say this.
I was going to say something too, but go ahead.
Let me say this about that.
Go for it.
I believe that people can have psychic ability. You know that. I believe that it's a real thing.
I believe it is real.
This alien
You're not believing
skull thing? I'm not so sure.
Sorry, I was also going to say, I believe in the power of positivity.
I do.
I think you can put, and I do. I send positive vibes to people because I do really think when you're negative, it is toxic. I've been there because you remember even early on in our marriage, I would be very negative. And, you know, I'm like, this isn't going to work out. Yep. You know, I was very bad about that. And then as I started getting sick and had a lot of my health ailments, I started praying and started just being more positive. And I said, you know what, I'm going to conquer this and I'm going to put that positivity out there and I'm going to ask for help. And I'm, you know, and things did work out better. And I do, and I'm not saying it's always the case. Like, I put positivity out to get $1 million.
Right.
You know.
Well, that's the thing, you know, like manifesting. People talk about this.
Right.
I believe in it to a point. Like somebody sits there and like, I want a Mercedes. I want a Lexus. They think they're just going to sit there and meditate on the universe and just have it just kind of appear, right? I don't buy that. But what I do buy is, let's say they do want the Mercedes, they do want the Lexus, but they're working hard and they're applying themselves and they visualize positive outcomes and they work hard and have a more optimistic attitude. I think the chances of them getting that Lexus or Mercedes are a lot better if they have that positive attitude. Right. You know, if they work very, very hard, but they're like, it's not going to work out. I think that somehow there is a feedback loop where that comes in. I do believe that.
I do too.
But it just ain't gonna come there, but I want a Lexus. Hey, let me just concentrate. I also
think like trying to manifest stuff like that. Well, I mean, that's like material goods, you know. Like,
it'd be better to say, I want to be successful in my work, because if you're successful in your work, then those things come.
Those things can come, yeah. But I mean, no, I do believe in the positivity thing, and I really do, and I think it does help you. Does it cure you? I mean, there's plenty of people that are positive and they still maybe pass on. I mean, things happen, but I do think it is better for you.
Right. It puts a tendency. It's not 100%.
Correct. Yeah. So I believe, yeah, he's right. Him and the fans, we could put positivity out for England. Go, because U.S. blew it. So
yeah, I would say I'm rooting for England now.
I am rooting for England. Yeah. I'm also rooting against another team, but I won't go there because I don't want people to be upset with me. They're playing. They might have already played today. It probably already is a final. But Anyway, but speaking of positivity, we have an update from last week. We have an update about Mount Shasta. Remember? So last week I talked about how this mom and her daughter were horseback riding, and they heard and found all of these like hundreds of speakers on the hill. Yeah, and some of them were like spewing positive messages and others were gobbledygook, and then there was some scary stuff that was being spewed and some just tones. They found the owner of the land and the owner of the speakers, and he came forward to offer an explanation. So there we go.
What's the explanation? Pray tell.
He meant to put them there. So it's the same lady who discovered them. She said, he shared with me from the very first time he visited Mount Shasta, he was fascinated with the area, right? And felt a deep affinity to it. So because of that,
he put out 100 speakers, as one does.
Yes. Basically, he saw it as a personal and spiritual project created with positive intentions, right? Even if not everyone agrees or understands it.
Brought to you by Bose.
They're solar. Does Bose have solar ones?
I
don't know.
no idea.
It appears the speakers are a way to project spoken words, intentions, and positive messages out into the universe. So it's very appropriate that we kind of talked about that.
I like it.
And he said at the heart of his message, and this is the part that I really like, is a sincere prayer for world peace and a hope that people will choose a more compassionate way to treat each other. Right.
And that's something that we should all get behind.
And we just talked about that with our Uber driver on the way here. You know, just being
nice guy.
He was great. Brian, if you watch, I don't think you do. But anyway, just about being, we're all human and just treat each other with respect and just kind of remember to, everybody's going through something. Just try to be compassionate and just realize, you know, and he gave us a great story about that. Yeah. Somebody kind of was barking orders at him when they got in their car, his car. And he was like, you know, he didn't say anything because he's professional. But he was thinking, you know, who is this person telling me what to do in my car? And blah, blah, blah. And then by the end, she thanked him and said that she was having a bad day. And so
he had made her day so much better.
Yes, he made her
relaxing.
day so much better. So think about that, everyone. Yeah. It's a great lesson to
positive
try to be
more positive
vibes and be more positive.
So for the last story, you know, we talk about psychics, and we are in Hollywood. We're in La La Land.
Yes, we are.
And so appropriately enough, you have a celebrity story about someone who had a psychic connection.
I do. Allison Janney. She was just on with Tiffany Haddish, who was like filling in for Jimmy Kimmel because he's on sabbatical or vacation or whatnot. And they were talking about astrology. And Haddish says to her, I feel that the way you know that you are all these water signs says to me you probably go to psychics. And Janney said, you have no idea how much money I have spent on psychics. So apparently she does. And she's been going for years. She's gone to pet psychics about her past life connections to her dogs. And she said not all the predictions pan out. Mm-hmm. So like we always say. But she said there's one that was very weird and one that did come true. And she discusses this whole thing about Chuck Lorre.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She went to a hotel and she had this picture because she was developing something with him. And, you know, he's a big Bang Theory. Producer. Yeah, Big Bang Theory, Two and a Half Men, Young Sheldon. So the psychic looked at the photo she had with her and said, this man, you're going to have a very long relationship with him. And she was so exciting. She was excited, and then the project fell through. So she did not have one.
So she probably figured,
she's like, God, I'm never going to another psychic. She was totally ticked off, right? And then 2 years later, the TV show Mom came out, and that was 8 years with Chuck Lorre.
Yeah, wow.
So she said that was kind of, she hasn't stopped visiting psychics. The only thing that she said, well, she also said it's cheaper than going to therapists. I don't know about that. Yeah, but the one psychic told her, and it didn't happen, said that she was going to meet the man of her dreams and she was going to have all this wild, hot sex with him.
Hey now.
And so she nicknamed her mystery man Hot Pants.
Hot Pants.
Hot Pants. She never found him. No hot pants. But she said she would put herself out there hoping that Mr. Hot Pants would be at an event but he couldn't be because Mr. Hot Pants is sitting next to me.
Yeah.
And I'm married to him.
The hottest of pants.
Sorry, Allison. He's mine. I got hot pants. Hot pants. Sounds like hot tub. What was it?
Well, that was Eddie
SNL.
Murphy, but he was
James Brown.
Spoofing James Brown, the Godfather.
Are you mansplaining to me?
No, I'm not mansplaining to you. I just want to make it clear I knew who it was.
Yeah. So, yeah, she actually talked about hot pants all the way back in 2019 to Ellen DeGeneres, too, just hoping that it would come true. And she's like, I'm going to go get the oil change in my car because maybe hot pants will be there. No. And she's still waiting. You know, I guess she teased in the audience, is Mr. Hot Pants out there?
Well,
no, because he's sitting next to me.
Yes. Well, I hope if you're looking for Mr. Hot Pants, I hope your Hot Pants is out there, Mr. or Mrs. Hot Pants. And thank you so much for joining us on yet another edition of the Paranormal Report. And I would be remiss in my duty if we didn't once again thank Travis and all the fine folks at Spotify Studios for the hospitality they've shown us, and also to our special guest, who will remain nameless, but we thank that person for coming out specially to talk with me on the Paranormal Podcast.
No, it's been a phenomenal experience. It's been awesome. So something we won't forget when we go back to Cleveland.
Back to glamorous Cleveland. You know, Hollywood has nothing on Cleveland.
In my messy office with all my papers behind me that I hide.
I don't know. There may have been some breaking news today. I don't know. Hopefully by the time we get back, LeBron will be back on the Cavs, but he may already be somewhere else. We're all, we've been in a studio.
We're working hard for you guys.
That's right. Any final words of wisdom? Anything we need to point out to the audience? Summerween
is coming. We're going to do a live stream on, did we say Friday the 24th?
Correct.
Friday night the 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern.
That sounds good to me.
We'll be posting it on Virtual Campfire. Guys, if you're not there, you're missing out.
VirtualCampfireGroup.com, VirtualCampfireGroup.com. In fact,
free.
Give you an example. In a couple hours here, we're probably going to be meeting up with some folks. We just put on the Virtual Campfire Group, and they're going to be meeting us at one of the local establishments here. And that's only because they're in a Virtual Campfire Group.
So they knew.
It's absolutely free.
It is.
So, and it's been about a year now we've had it.
Yeah.
And we've got a few thousand people there. We'd like more. So please join us on the virtualcampfiregroup.com, because if you don't, you're missing out. It's free. It's there for you. And we'd love for you to join us. Any other last thoughts?
Well, and if you're on there, participate more. I mean, I know when I put polls out, we get a lot of participation, but throw a comment here and there and try to communicate. It's a great group of people. Everybody is just so kind to each other and supportive. And because, many of us are labeled as kooks and crazies because we believe in this stuff. But this is just like a great place to meet like-minded people.
Exactly.
And people that do
nice
believe.
People. We
nice.
Have such nice people.
We really, really do. We do. So
people like you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, it's time for him to play that music. We're going to dance.
We're going to dance.
Spotify studio.
We're going to dance at the studio. We could have done a full dance. Wait.
I don't think anybody would want to see that.
No, that's scary.
Not me.
You guys, cameras would break.
Stay spooky.
Have a great week. Bye.